When I got falsely arrested, my parents refused bail, not from lack of money, but from pure spite. Finally, prison where this waste of space belongs. My father told the lawyer, "Don't help him, he's dead to us. Let her rot." I just smiled through the bars and said, "You'll regret this decision forever." That was 2 years ago. Last week, they learned about my carefully executed plan. Today, they're sobbing uncontrollably. "You can't do this to your own parents. Please forgive us. Don't twist this, Dad. You left me in jail for something I didn't even do." My voice cracked through the silence, raw and desperate, but burning with a rage I'd held inside too long. Richard Carter, my father, slammed his hand against the table so hard the cups rattled. His face, flushed with the kind of anger that had defined my childhood, leaned across the table toward me. "Stop acting like a victim," he spat. "You finally faced consequences. Prison was where you belonged." I stared at him, chest heaving. The air between us was heavy, poisonous. Beside him, my mother, Linda, sat stiff-backed with her arms crossed like an executioner at a trial. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. Her words came cold, deliberate. "We warned you for years, Michael. You've always been a disappointment." The words stabbed deeper than any prison shiv ever could. A disappointment? My throat tightened as the words stumbled out. "You didn't even let the lawyer speak for me. You told him not to help me." Silence. A long, suffocating silence where the weight of betrayal pressed down on me. Then, low, almost muttered but sharp enough to cut bone, my father growled, "Dead to us. That's what you were." And just like that, I realized, maybe I had been dead to them long before prison. My name is Michael Carter. I'm 25 years old. And for 6 months, I lived behind concrete walls and iron bars for a crime I didn't commit. Shoplifting. Something so small, so absurd. Yet it branded me like a scarlet letter. I didn't steal a thing, but the charge stuck, and the system swallowed me whole. Do you know the worst part? It wasn't the cold food. It wasn't the fights. It wasn't the endless nights where sleep came in fragments. It was the silence from the people who were supposed to be my family. Not one visit, not one call, not even a single attempt at bail. And now, 2 years later, I was sitting across from them in the house I once called home. Except this time, I wasn't the weak, broken kid they abandoned. This time, I was calm. Too calm. Calm in a way that scared them. They didn't know it yet. But tonight, everything was about to change. Introduce the family members. Richard Carter, 62, my father, retired firefighter. To outsiders, he's the picture of honor and sacrifice. But behind closed doors, he's a tyrant, a man who never once admitted he was wrong, who used volume and fists to win arguments. Linda Carter, 59, my mother. If Dad was fire, she was ice. Her weapon wasn't shouting, but silence. Cold, punishing, suffocating silence. She could look at me in a way that made me feel like a stranger in my own skin. Emily Carter, 28, my older sister. The golden child. The one who did everything right. Accountant, married, homeowner by 27. While I was fighting for scraps of approval, she collected trophies. She watched me rot and didn't move a finger. David Carter, 21. My younger brother. The athlete, the golden boy of his generation. Loved effortlessly. Never had to fight for their approval like I did. To him, I was just the family screw-up. 4 of them, 1 of me. But tonight, for the first time, the odds were about to shift. "You think I forgot what you did?" My father sneered, his eyes narrowing with venom. "The lies, the bills, the shame you dragged through our door. The shame?" I shot back, my voice rising. Years of buried anger clawing to the surface. I leaned forward until my face was inches from his. "You're talking about shame, but I carried your debts for years. Who signed off on your second mortgage when the bank refused you?" "Me. At 19. The words cut through the room like a blade. Emily's perfect, polished voice cut in sharply, trying to steady control of the conversation. "Don't twist it, Michael! You agreed!" "No!" I barked, my chest heaving. I was coerced. I was manipulated. You all needed me, and when it was convenient, you dropped me like garbage." The room fell silent, but it wasn't peaceful. It was electric, dangerous. For the first time that night, my mother's icy shell cracked. Her voice, sharp as broken glass, tore through the room. "We did what we had to. You were reckless, irresponsible, always dragging us down." I laughed bitterly, a sound so hollow it chilled even me. "I was 20 when you shoved those papers under my nose. You let me drown so you could breathe." Emily's face flushed crimson, her lips trembling with fury. David shifted uneasily in his chair, his eyes darting between us, unsure if he should speak. And my father. He clenched his jaw so tight I thought his teeth would crack. But he said nothing. That silence, that refusal to deny it, was confirmation enough. Prison wasn't a place. It was a sentence carved into my soul. Nights stretched into eternities, every hour dragging like chains. But one memory burned hotter than the rest. That day in court. The smell of old wood and sweat. My public defender leaning close, his whisper colder than the cuffs on my wrists. "Your family refused to pay bail." I turned in disbelief, scanning the gallery, hoping, praying, for a glimpse of them, a nod, a hand raised, anything. But the seats were empty. They weren't there. They were home, eating dinner, laughing, pretending I was already gone. That was the night I stopped being their son. That was the night I started sharpening my silence into steel. And now it was time. I leaned back, letting the weight of anticipation hang heavy. "Remember the house you all live in? The one Dad brags about paying off?" My father's eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering. "What about it?" I smirked, savoring the moment. "It's in my name. I signed those papers at 19, and I never transferred the deed back." The color drained from Richard's face. For the first time, the unshakable man looked small, weak. My mother's lips trembled. Emily's voice cracked, disbelief dripping like venom. "That's not possible." "Check the records," I said evenly, savoring their unraveling. "You've been living in my house, under my name for 6 years. You can't do this to your own parents," my mother screamed, her icy mask shattering as tears streamed down her cheeks. "Please, Michael." Emily's voice broke, desperation painting cracks in her perfect facade. "You'll ruin us. Everything we've built. Gone." I leaned back, my breathing calm, steady, almost serene. "Funny," I said softly. "That's exactly what you said when you let me rot in jail." "Let him rot." "Do you remember, Emily?" Her face went pale. "Now," I continued, "it's your turn to understand what abandonment feels like." And then, the unthinkable happened. Richard Carter, my father, the man who never bent, never broke, cracked. His voice, trembling and unrecognizable, whispered, "Son, please, we were wrong." But I didn't flinch. Not anymore. I pushed my chair back, the sound scraping across the floor like a gavel striking judgment. I stood tall, finally free. "I'm not evicting you. Not today." Their eyes widened, relief flickering, but I didn't let them breathe. "No. I want you to sit in that house every night and remember who it belongs to, who you abandoned, who you erased." David stood as I walked toward the door, his voice quiet, trembling with something I hadn't expected. "I never agreed with them, Michael. I'm sorry. I swear. I'm not like them." For the first time in years, I smiled. Not with bitterness, not with vengeance, but with release. "Then don't be like them, David. Be better." And with that, I left. Driving away, the nightlights blurred past me, and the weight I'd carried my whole life lifted from my shoulders. Revenge hadn't been my goal. Recognition was. Proof that I wasn't the family's failure, but their foundation. The truth had teeth, and when I finally let it bite, it didn't destroy me. It freed me. I don't know if my parents will ever change. Maybe they'll stay bitter. Maybe Emily will forever resent me. But David? He looked at me differently tonight. He saw me not as the black sheep, but as someone who survived. And me? For the first time, I was building something for myself. A small apartment, a steady job, night classes. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. Forgiveness? I'm not there yet. But healing doesn't need their permission. As I pulled onto the highway, the stars stretching across the sky, I whispered to myself, they were wrong about me. And that's enough. If you were in Michael's shoes, what would you have done? Would you take revenge, forgive, or walk away forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories. If this story hit you, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe for more powerful emotional stories every week. And remember, sometimes the deepest justice isn't revenge, it's freedom.